Hi, everybody. This is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on January the 2nd in the year of our Lord 2025. It's great to be back with you. Let's go ahead and click over here, Murtech on Rumble, where I have some great information for you. All right, we're going to go over our episode 1795. Let me jump into there. Close out the live chat, slide down here, and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from Benny Johnson, Black Conservative Perspective, The Real Adogg, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I do have some shout outs to give. From SLS Mock, just started following my channel. Keith OU812 just started following my channel. Ron Biwa just started following my channel. Bald Gamecock just started following my channel. All right, Gypsy Love just started following my channel. Scorp 13th just started following my channel. Laura Marcos just started following my channel. And Ron BWA just started following my channel. Okay, I got that in there twice, but that's great. Maybe he followed me twice, maybe I just copied it too much. But at any rate, folks, thank you so much for following my channel. I hope you're tuned in tonight, and I hope you enjoy the content. Okay, Debbie BS reposted my episode 1794. Uncloudy and Cottonball 31 commented on my episode 1794. Debbie BS watched my extra, or commented on my extra 576A, 576B, and 576C. So thank you very much, folks, for your comments and reposting my video. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I certainly appreciate your support. So let me give this a thumbs up. There we go. And by the way, in case I haven't mentioned it before, I have one of those thumbs up icons right here below the video you're watching. So if you just want to scroll down here and hit that thumbs up button, that would be fantastic. Okay, let's get into this. Benny Johnson, Somalis accidentally tell truth about their massive fraud at press conference, instant regret. Okay, well, let's see what that's all about. Okay, here we go. One of his memes, I assume. Sawmart. Save Mart.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. In Somalia, the #1 career choice and profession is pirate. So what do you expect when you bring them here to America? They are going to loot and steal, and that is exactly what has been happening, obviously, in mass around America, and it's been exposed ad nauseum. It's now been tried and prosecuted by the DOJ. There have been 90 separate Somali convictions for mass fraud, totaling in the billions. President Trump talking about it at Mar-a-Lago last night, saying they're going to put a stop to it, 18 billion in fraud. Well, that's more than the GDP of Somalia. So that's how efficient the actual piracy is here in this country. And we're so stupid to not stop it. What kind of a nation are we if you can't put an end to something like this? It's obviously adding to the national debt. It's crippling the future of our children. And it's something that could collapse the country, obviously, if left unchecked. And ladies and gentlemen, if you catch these Somali fraudulent daycare owners and other businesses, there's medical businesses and so on, this entire network of this stuff happening all throughout the country. If you catch them in their fraud, then what will happen is they'll continue to scam you and fraud you. So there's like inception fraud. Fraudception is what's happening here. A Somali daycare manager spoke to the media after their business was allegedly broken into. And the first time ever, a thief went and stole the employee records and the checkbook that they were writing checks into. So the thief went and stole all of the information that would, of course, get them in trouble with the feds because they were running a fake business. That's right. Not very.
Morning, I was called by the owner because unfortunately someone came in to our daycare. The cleaner called the owner and told him what happened and the vandalism that happened. The owner called us. Me and another manager came into the scene around 6 a.m. We looked and saw what happened, and we saw that the suspect came in from the back, broke in from the back kitchen, and he also destroyed the wall to come in. As he came in, he broke a door from the wall from Family Dollar from the side. He couldn't, unfortunately, we don't know if that he went in or not, but we saw that it was damaged. As we walked around the daycare, we saw that our office doors was broken into as well. We saw that, unfortunately, there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone.
Okay, enough. I can't take it anymore. So don't worry. It's just a burglar that came in to take the enrollment documentation. That's right. Dog ate my homework, says Harmy Dillon. She works at the DOJ. Dog ate my homework, said Elon Musk. Never in the history of burglaries has anybody broken into a daycare to steal employment records and enrollment records and rip up checkbooks. President Trump posting this on Truth Social, a total fraud. Minnesota Somali-run daycare bizarrely reports their important documents about childcare were mysteriously stolen. It's just even further and further fraud. Again, it's fraudception. So as a cop investigating literally hundreds of burglaries over a 20-year career, I can tell you no burglar has ever stopped and stolen employment paperwork. Let me guess, the cameras at the facility magically broke. If I worked at the Minneapolis PD, it would take me 48 hours to debunk all of this. I knew there would be a reasonable explanation. Burglars are obsessed with employment and enrollment documentation, of course. The burglar. Ain't nobody believe in this dude. Oh boy, where was the evidence stolen from? Is like, that's good. That's Tim Walz. Jesse Smalley. Translation, they got rid of all the evidence. We're looking to find the guy who did this. When you find who's got the stolen files, identify the suspect. Yeah, so did your fraud pay for these glasses? Again, this is what everyone is noting, that this dude, new meme template just dropped. $3,000 glasses. Money now, please. Yeah, I love the white woman in the background who's convinced herself this low IQ hustler is telling the truth. That's right. What she's picturing right now. This is the memes are just flying these days, and it gets even better. So now, you have the $3,000 glasses kid, and now you have this girl. I don't know where they found her, but this Minnesota mom panics after seeing fraud is bad in her script. This is
if childcare is cut.
Wait a second. This is a mom. Look how young.
I'm unable to work or go to school. I understand fraud is bad.
Wait, what?
Fraud is bad.
Fraud is bad. You just realized what she said. Fraud is bad. Just realized it. Realize what she just said.
Look at this lady behind her. I mean, what the hell? Is she part of it or what? I mean, I don't understand these people, and this lady over here, she doesn't even know what she's reading it off of her phone. What the hell? Oh yeah, give her an applaud.
All the obese liberal white ladies clap for her. There you go. Good job. Good job. This is actually the demographic that's destroying America, is left-wing, unhappy, feminist, like childless ladies. I can't get over this clip. Best writers on SNL could never top this. Rarely does a video leave my jaw on the floor. I'd laugh if it wasn't completely insane. What? Everyone's saying? What? Deport everyone in this video. She knows she's not allowed to concede anything to the out group, meaning normal Americans, saying fraud is bad is a serious gaffe. Every second of this clip is amazing, including the panicked, supportive applause. Now, videos like this make you feel like a sucker for giving the system the slightest benefit of the doubt. It's almost as if saying fraud is bad is akin to blasphemy against God for Somalis. She freaks out as if she's said a phrase that she's never allowed to utter and be punished and outcast from her tribe. That's how much fraud is embedded into the life of Somalis. Exactly right. It is a lifestyle. It is an ecosystem. It is the purpose for being. Obviously, all you have to do is check the receipts from Somalia. I really don't get it. Why does she freak out? Because you're not allowed to say fraud is bad. Oopsie. This is Duper's delight. Look at this. Oh no, you're not allowed to say it. There is fraud. There's fraud. They're saying it now.
I see some signs over here that say stop fraud, and I agree, stop it. There are wait lists for these programs that are years long. There is fraud, there is...
This is a nightmare blunt rotation. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything so humiliating in my life. Like, please let them keep talking. She accidentally told the truth. There is fraud. It's not happening. It's a conspiracy theory. Okay, it's happening. It's Trump's fault. There is fraud. Daycare activist covers her mouth when she says there is fraud. Freudian slip. Gee whiz. Daycare activist covers her mouth. There is fraud. So they're this blatant about it. What are we going to do about it? That's the question, right? So what's the Trump administration going to do about it? Deportations, criminal prosecutions, severe denaturalization, like make the process the punishment. You stole from us. Now it's time for the punishment. Okay, the F around happened, and now the find out.
There you go.
And it has to happen now because people are losing faith in the system. If it's not already lost,
I think it's
completely.
in the process.
So, yeah, fraud is bad. There is fraud. And the guy with the $3,000 glasses, I'm sure they'll look great in prison. We're going to
I'm sure they will look great in prison. Okay, well, let's click on the Rumble link. And let me show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and scroll down and see what Black Conservative Perspective has to say about reporter stunned after finding millions going to known Minnesota fraudster running living facilities. Imagine that. Wow. Here we go. Okay. Rumble's running a little slow this evening. There we go.
getting paid nation.
Prosecutors have uncovered billions in fraud here. I think it's $9 billion in 14 different programs that fraudsters have used to defraud Medicaid here. After we were reporting in November, we got a tip to look into assisted living facilities, and we did and reported it out. And now we believe our reporting suggests that that is the 15th program that is being used to defraud Medicaid. Here's what we know now. The number of people getting help in assisted living facilities is up, double the growth of other programs. But here's the kicker. The rate of payment in this assisted living space is 10 to 15 times the growth in other programs. So we pulled the data on assisted living facilities in the Minneapolis area. Minneapolis has a lot, 169. St. Paul has 83. But Brooklyn Center, a suburb of 30,000, has 106, and Brooklyn Park, population 84,000, has 181, more than Minneapolis, a city 5 times its size. But one assisted living facility puts this all into perspective. A defendant in the Feeding Our Future scandal owns a few assisted living facilities and is continuing to bill the state while awaiting his trial. Gandhi Mohammed was indicted for laundering $1 million in that case. His LLC owns homes around Minneapolis. Last year, those homes brought in $2.3 million from the state.
Boy. So you got to talk about another bombshell report. Some real journalism here that CNN and BS Now don't want to do, but News Nation, they're doing some real journalism. Now, I have my issues with News Nation, but for the most part, I like News Nation, to be honest with you. I do think that they make an attempt to be fair and balanced. I think News Nation is what CNN says that they are, but they're not, right? So in this report, News Nation here, they're going to pull a Nick Shirley, right, and go knocking door to door after getting a tip on another industry that is getting paid millions in fraud, right? We're talking about assisted living facilities, okay? And it appears that they're still receiving these funds despite the fact that defendants have already been charged, okay, that are associated with these living facilities. They're still receiving funds, tax funds, despite the charges, which is a part of the problem. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
This may look like your typical single-family home, but it bills itself as an assisted living facility, and it receives a lot of taxpayer money. Here in Minnesota, the number of people getting help in assisted living facilities is up, double the growth of other programs. But here's the kicker. The rate of payment in this assisted living space is 10 to 15 times the growth in other programs. Hi. So we pulled the data on assisted living facilities in the Minneapolis area. Minneapolis, as you might expect, has a lot, 169. St. Paul, with a population of 307,000, has 83. But Brooklyn Center, 30,000 population, has 106. And Brooklyn Park, population of 84,000, has 181, more than Minneapolis, a city 5 times its size. But this assisted living facility puts this all in perspective. It's owned by a man indicted for laundering $1 million in the Feeding Our Future scam. He's Gandhi Mohammed, now Gandhi Abdi Kadai, and his LLC owns the homes. His wife runs the assisted living facilities, and the state is continuing to pay as he awaits his trial. Okay. We went to each of them.
We're curious because the man who owns this building was indicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. Did you know that?
No.
Don't know that?
No. You think what?
Do you know the Feeding Our Future scandal? The scam that was, there's all these indictments related to false, billing on feeding children.
No, that's not true.
That it's not true?
It's not true. The way I know that, no.
These assisted living facilities received over $2.3 million in state money last year alone. A Minnesota Reformer article says he has been paid a whopping $49 million since 2016.
Wow. How is it possible that this person who's been indicted in Feeding Our Future also is still collecting checks from the state, running these assisted living centers with his wife?
I honestly have no idea. It seems like the most basic due diligence would have been to run a check of all the people indicted in Feeding Our Future and then make sure they're not getting paid from other state programs. And at least in this case, and I've heard perhaps in others, they didn't do that.
state
Yeah. So what's happening here is that these fraudsters are literally setting up businesses that are designed to get taxpayer money, right? So these entrepreneurs, right? These guys are saying, hey, you know what? We're going to set up daycares. We're going to set up assisted living facilities, healthcare companies. We're going to set up all these companies that are solely designed to get taxpayer dollars, right? Taxpayer subsidies. And we're not going to run legitimate businesses, right? We're going to run our businesses fraudulently and essentially become millionaires, right? Become the American dream, right? Off of fraud. And they were doing this in multiple industries where the government was just handing out money for people to start businesses. And it really makes you realize that, damn, us regular, normal, everyday people, we've been doing it all wrong. We've been doing it all wrong. We should have got into the daycare business, the assisted living business, the healthcare business. We need to get into any industry that the government is subsidizing, right? We need to get into those industries. If you want to get rich, right? If you want to get filthy rich and not even have to provide any real goods and services, get into some industry that's being subsidized by the government, right? Get one of these government grants, okay? These government subsidies, and you good. Minimum oversight, especially in a blue state, right? What they say, Minnesota, fraud tourism is what they were doing. The fraudster, they were setting up in Minnesota because there was such a lack of oversight. Democrats didn't care. That they were like, yeah. We can go to that state. We can start one of these healthcare businesses, one of these daycare businesses, one of these assisted living businesses, and then we can make some money because they're just handing out money to anybody. And it really makes you realize that the whole system is built on fraud. And this is why I've stressed that it's not enough to just freeze payments. You're not going to freeze payments and figure out what's legit and what's not legit. That's not the way out of this. It's not going to happen because the system is broken, right? It is broken, fundamentally, structurally broken. You have to dismantle the whole system and rebuild it from the ground up. You're not going to reform this. This can't be reformed. The whole thing has to be dismantled. Yes, I know. There are some legit businesses that will probably get defunded, right? But in order to root out what is a systemic issue, you have to have systemic solutions. And this system is a rotten solution. It is rotten to the core. Our welfare system is rotten to the core. It has to be dismantled and rebuilt. Otherwise, you're still going to have this. Otherwise, it's not going to go away. People are going to still continue to slip through the cracks because it's built that way. That's the way it's built. It's built to allow this, especially in these blue states. We got blue state governors running around here bragging about how we're not going to let Trump see who we're paying food stamps to, even though the federal government is giving them the money, right? It's the federal government's money, and blue states are saying, nah, screw that guy. Screw the federal government. We don't care. They don't have a right to see who we're giving money to.
Trump administration is asking for data from all the states on SNAP recipients. I think 29 have said yes, mainly Republican states. Wisconsin has said no. Why not give the data to see if there's any bad apples or fraud within the system?
Well, that system is analyzed every single year, and we feel confident in it. So, the idea that they're asking for this information, they're looking for ways to get out of doing it, frankly. And that is inappropriate. I mean, we have people in the state of Wisconsin that need help making sure they're having nutritious meals. And so we feel the program right now is working just fine.
Incredible. The fact that these governors even have an option to say no, the fact that they're not compelled by law to share who is getting SNAP benefits, who they're giving SNAP benefits to, federal tax dollars to, that means that the system is broken. It's broken. It's a broken system structurally because by law, they should be sharing who's getting the SNAP benefits, right? You're talking about federal tax dollars. If I'm giving you my tax dollars, right? If the federal government is giving a state tax dollars, okay, from every other state in the country, then by law, By law, states should be required to share the data. They should be sharing the data automatically. Every month, they should be sharing the data. And every month, the federal government should be cross-checking to make sure that there's no fraud. Again, the system is structurally broken. And again, this is why they did not want Doge. This is what Democrats were boo-hoo-whining and crying about. This is what they were afraid of. They were running around to, Doge is canceling cancer research. Doge is killing people because Africa can't get AIDS medicine. Right? This type of stuff they was talking about. What they were actually really afraid of was this. They were afraid of Doge canceling these payments to these fraudulent businesses that are giving these kickbacks to Democrats. And I guarantee you know what's funny about this? I guarantee you in these swing states, like Wisconsin, Michigan, probably Pennsylvania, right? Some of these swing states where Democrats are competitive, where they can win, where it goes back and forth, I guarantee you that's where a lot of this fraud is the most prevalent. I guarantee you. I'll give you a good example of it. The story that we covered out in Maine, right? This is still an ongoing story. The Somali fraudster, right? We're talking about healthcare fraud. Maine is one of those states that, again, kind of could go back and forth, right? It's somewhat of a swing state, but, you know, it's generally kind of blue, right? Like, look at this story. There's a lot of fraud going on out there as well, too. Very similar state to Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, politically speaking.
Somali-linked taxpayer fraud isn't just being investigated in Minnesota. It's also happening in Maine, where a health contractor is accused of defrauding the state's Medicaid program of millions of dollars. Now, Republican lawmakers there are demanding accountability from Democrats. Let's go to News Nation's Alex Capriello. Alex, good evening. I know you've been following the story since we found out about it. These lawmakers today said the alleged Medicaid fraud only scratches the surface. What are we learning?
Yeah, that's right, Hannah. At its core, the primary allegation is against one organization that lawmakers believe improperly billed the state's Medicaid program for millions of dollars. But they also recognize that more than 5,000 groups bill MaineCare every day, every year. And they wonder why it's taken so long for the government to catch up on this possible fraud. To answer that question quickly, the lawmakers thanked investigators like News Nation's Rich McHugh. He was the one who actually broke this story weeks ago. He spoke to a whistleblower who claims that Gateway, a nonprofit which provides social services to immigrants, filed false records to bilk millions of dollars from Maine taxpayers by defrauding the state's Medicaid program. That's, of course, called MaineCare. They say this is just another example of widespread fraud like we're seeing in Minnesota. Take a listen.
This is going to have implications for the state of Maine in the billions with a B of dollars. This will spell financial Armageddon for our state. We have got to get a handle on this problem.
My constituents and the constituents of my caucus members have had enough. The tax-paying citizens of Maine have had enough of fraud, waste, and lies.
And the reason why I say that is because it gives them an advantage, right? Welfare gives Democrats an advantage. If it wasn't for welfare, the Democrat Party wouldn't exist. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. What do Democrats have to offer outside of welfare? Not a damn thing. They don't have anything else to offer. So when you talk about doing an audit on the welfare, you're basically talking about auditing the Democrat Party business model, right? That's what you're talking about. And that scares them to death because without welfare, why would anybody vote Democrat?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause it there. And, they talk about, why didn't the federal government keep up with this? Well, how the frick can they keep up with it when these people won't allow them to see their records? Okay? So if everything's hidden from the federal government, it's tough for the federal government to keep up with it. Not that the Biden administration or Obama administration would even want to. But that's the way it is, folks. And, until there's some accountability and responsibility to show what's being taken place here, it's going to continue. And I think that President Trump should shut all this down. Okay, until we can see what you're doing with the money, you're not going to get any more. It's as plain and simple as that. Let me jump over here and show you that this video does come from Black Conservative Perspective. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, folks, I want to come over here and show you some of my statistics so far this month. My requirement is 30 hours to maintain my creator program. Here it is, the second of the month. I've got 22.4. Unique chatters this month. This is people that have not chatted before. I've got 14. I need 20, so 6 more people out there that have not given me a chat. Just get in the chat box and say hi, or how you doing, or give me a thumbs up, or you stink, or whatever. Okay, I've got the rest of these. Rumble Premium hours, I needed 5. I've got 7.7. Total watched this month, total hours watched this month. My requirement's 200. I've got 313.3. Total unique raids this month, I've got 7, and the requirement is 5. So I'm there. Just a few more hours. I'll probably have this by tomorrow. I hope I get 6 more chatters in here, because when I do this, Rumble does promote my videos more. And when they promote my videos more, that means more people get to hear the truth for a change, rather than the lies and propaganda from the lying legacy media. Okay, so help me out here. Give me some chats. Kings Watts been telling some information here about Minnesota. Observe 0000. Thank you for your chat. Okay, here we go. Back here. Let me close out the chat box. And let's jump down here and see what the real Adogg has to say. You won't believe what just shockingly happened to Trump in Minnesota. Okay. Let's see what that's all about.
Now check this out.
Take back our country. Can you imagine? They stole $18 billion. That's just what we're learning about. That's peanuts. In California is worse. Illinois is worse. And sadly, New York is worse. A lot of other places. So we're going to get to the bottom of all of it. It was a giant scam. Other than that, we're going to have a great new year. Actually, I view that as a reason for a good year, because we're going to get to the bottom, but we're going to get that money back. It's all coming back.
Exactly.
So I want to just do something very
And by the way, Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year. I want to make sure I say that. But that just goes to show you that even on New Year's, President Trump is doubling down on this Somali fraud, and he should. And President Trump is going to take care of it, like he does everything else. But look at this right here. Look what Tim Walz decided to do after we find out all the fraud, all the money the Somalis been stealing over the last 4 years. Like I said before, even though Tim Walz was in on this. Look what he just did. Tim Walz is proud to announce Minnesota has just launched a 20-week paid leave program that will apply to Somalis and migrants. It's a recipe for freaking disaster. Defund Minnesota. Voters need to clean house. And let's read this in its totality. Look at this. This is by Governor Tim Walz. Minnesota just launched our statewide paid leave program. Starting today, new parents, small business owners, and people recovering from illness or injury will have the security to take needed time off work without risking their paycheck. But we know exactly who he's talking about. That would apply to Somalis and migrants. This man right here is full of crap. All he do is lie about the Tiananmen Square. He lies about everything. Stolen battle, lied about the military background. This man don't do anything but just straight lie. That's all he do. So this is where the bombshell come in at. It's a Minnesota child care fraud bombshell. And look at this, a Sweet Angel Child Care featured in Nick Shirley's Fraud Exposed has a Google-listed phone number that dials directly to Governor Tim Walz's office. So I want y'all to check this out, because this is something else that Tim Walz did not want out, but to just go to show you how deep this fraud really goes.
So guys, this is absolutely mind-blowing. So I was watching the most recent video by Nick Shirley exposing these daycare centers. Now, they're going daycare to daycare, and the next one that they go to is called Sweet Angels Sweet Angel Childcare. This is where they show up to. And this is the business right here. Sweet Angel Childcare in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, listen to where this phone number goes to when you call this childcare center. Just wait for it.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Our office is...
If he called a child care center, why is it going to Tim Walz's office? Hold on. If you call a child care center, why is it... What? Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure I heard that right. It said something about Governor Tim Walz's office. Why should that be towards his office if you calling a child care center? Hold on.
Just wait for it.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Our office is located at 130 State Capitol at 75 Reverend.
Oh my God. I'll do it again. Sweet Angel Childcare. It goes to Governor Tim Walz's office.
Why do he go to his office?
Why is a child care center directly going to the office of the governor?
That is crazy.
Make it make sense. Hold on.
Thank you for contacting the office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
If this is not a direct link to Tim Walz and these fraudulent...
That's why I told y'all Tim Walz knew about it. You call a child care center, and it's talking about the office of Tim Walz. So he knows, and think about all the child care centers that call that number, it goes straight to Tim Walz. So obviously he knows about the fraud. I've been saying this for the last 3 weeks.
Child care centers, I don't know what else is. Bro, this is crazy. I'm just in shock right now. I was recording a YouTube video and reacting to this video. And I was like, let me call and look up their Google reviews. I was just looking up their Google reviews. And I was like, let me call this number. And I call it and it goes to Governor Tim Walz's office. Make that make sense.
That is freaking insane. Y'all let me know down below in the comment section, what do y'all think about that? They're calling a child care center and the number goes directly to Tim Walz's office. Now, I want to bring y'all back to this because this is the 23-year-old Nick Shirley and stuff like that. We must protect Nick Shirley at all times. This is a 23-year-old kid who exposed a lot of fraud at these daycares in Minnesota. Him and his friend David, they goes around. Then they say they is on their way going to California next to expose fraud there. So they did it in Minnesota, and now Nick Shirley, a 23-year-old kid, is now receiving death threats and all type of stuff like that. It just go to show you how violent the left is. So this is Nick right here pretty much, talking about the fact that now he's getting death threats, people, threatening him, like harassing him at stop signs and all type of stuff.
Have you gotten any threats, like actual death threats?
Yeah, well, in person and also.
Can you tell me
online.
about that? Like, are they messaging you saying, we're going to get you? What are they saying to you?
Yeah, like they're saying, oh, like, kirked. You're going to be kirked.
You're going to be.
Oh, man. Isn't that amazing? For exposing the fraud. And it seems like the Democrats are always pointing at the conservatives, the MAGA people, how violent we are. Do you think there's any conservatives or people that follow Donald Trump and support Donald Trump that are threatening him? Think about it. These people are such hypocrites and liars. God, they make me sick. I'm sorry to have to get so emotional here, but it's true. And folks, that's why I share this stuff out with you, so that hopefully you'll share it out with others and people will see this and go, he's got a point there. I don't know. Let me go ahead and show you here that this video does come from Adogg on YouTube. I am subscribed to his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's slide back over here. Close out the chat a little bit. I've been chatting back and forth with some people. Let's slide down here and see what Wendy Bell has to say about the tip of the iceberg. Okay, we're going to start this out about the 9-minute and 2-second mark, right after her Pledge of Allegiance. Okay.
You know, I got to be honest with you, the audio I heard this morning that kind of prompted my ire. Yesterday, I was listening to the hack, Tony DeCopel, over at CBS News, realizing that nobody watches the television anymore because the news sucks. 60 Minutes. Oh, 60 Minutes is on. Well, 60 Minutes selectively edits things and they lie to you. Oh, let's dial into the BBC. Oh, that's right. They do the same thing. I love the Wall Street Journal. Oh, yeah, about that. They stink too now. You have found this avenue of information, and we found something yesterday that's kind of interesting. It's Abby Phillip. She's the CNN host of whatever the show is at night. She's sitting down with fired news person or whatever her name is, Joy Reid, right? So these two black women talking about how basically the Republican Party's got it all wrong. All of you MAGA people, you just don't understand because you're so unwilling to open up your mind and just see the truth. Stop it with the MAGA. Stop being extreme. And only then, maybe will you be able to understand how smart they are. Well, I'm going to tell you something. This is all very intriguing, isn't it? Whenever the left goes after something that you and I are talking about, the thing that you and I are talking about almost always is for the greater good. Whether it's closed borders, getting rid of Kilmar Abrego gangbanger, right? Well, whether it's telling the truth about crime in our communities, whether it's telling the truth about inflation or what have you, right? If we say something that we want to talk about, that's for the greater good. The left cares about their little pet projects, their frauds, their grifts, their promises, the bribery and the blackmail, right? And you know you're onto them when they come back at you with the knives. Nick Shirley right now, he's in the crosshairs, and I pray to God a bubble of protection for him and his family, and it's disgusting that I need to even say that. But I thought for a moment you and I should chew on some of the things that we've been through together, that you and I have wanted to talk about, that we've been told to sit down and shut up about. I've personally lost 3 jobs, been fired for talking about it. And I'm sure many of you have been doxxed, deplatformed, demonetized, right? This whole idea that you should defame the truth teller, that you should attack the person who's thinking logically, who's like, wait a minute, this is so jacked up and I'm not the only one who sees it, right? And when they come at you, you're over the mark. We saw a lot of this during COVID, right? A lot of this during COVID. Think about it. What did we want? We just wanted information we could trust. We were willing to go along with what needed to be done. I've never been through a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic, as they said. Of course I'm going to trust the experts. Until the freaking experts lie. And when we expose those lies, what did they do? They didn't come out and say, you know what about that? We kind of lied about that. We made the virus with China, and then we foisted it upon you, and then we made you get this vaccine also from China, which was super duper. How's that working for you, right? Instead of coming out and saying, you know what, we suck. They went after RFK Jr. Knives out. Dude's an anti-vaxxer. He's a hateful human being. Damn him. Wants to get additives out of our food. Dangerous dyes out of our Doritos. I hate that. Right? We're like, the guy's platform is make America healthy again. You mean to tell me on the left you're against being healthy? You're against the honesty and the truth from medicine? Really? And then what else did they give us? Well, we wanted to know about the biolabs. People wanted to talk about the biolabs. Putin was like, I'm invading Ukraine for a lot of reasons, but what's up with the biolabs at my border? And people were like, that's not what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Tulsi Gabbard's like, about the biolabs. Yeah, they're all over the place. All over the place. Look into Meta Biota, Hunter Biden, and how much the Biden crime family syndicate's making on this. Instead of the media coming after that and saying, why are we making bioweapons on the border with Russia? What's going on, right? Who did they come after? Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard's a Putin puppet. Right. How about George Floyd? Instead of coming out and being like, look, can we have an honest conversation about what's really going on? Because the way I see it, and it's not through white lenses, it's through honest lenses. We're giving license to a bunch of hoodlums and maniacs who just want to set crap on fire and break the law. Break into any department store, loot it, have no consequences. Woo! Sounds like a great time to be an American, right? Well, who did they come after for that? They didn't come out and say, you know what, can we settle down, everybody? Couple $1 billion in damage, many people being murdered. Can we stop it? They came after Kyle Rittenhouse, right? Little racist that he was. Same way they did it to Nicholas Sandmann. We're not going to have a conversation. We're going to go after somebody and we're going to peg him. And if you decide to do the same thing, we're going to take you down the same way. Except we're on to them. Think about Nick Shirley. What did he just say after exposing all of the nonsense in Minnesota? He said, you know what, you can't come after me and say that I'm racist, because me going to these daycare centers that are all run by Somalians, where there are no kids, no equipment, no windows, no nothing, and nobody answers the door, and when I do knock, they call the cops on me. Hey, that doesn't make me racist. That makes me a journalist. Isn't it interesting to see real journalism in action? And what are they all about now? All the knives out for Nick Shirley. What about his family? What does he do? Why did he take his mom to the prom? Why is he a virgin? Really? Why aren't we talking about the fraud? The fraud, by the way, which is costing Minnesota residents $1 billion more in property taxes this year, unless you people wake up and revolt. And there's more. How much do you want to do? You want to talk about truth in media? People stepping away from the media. Some are forced out the way I was. But Tucker Carlson, right? He's not renewed. All knives are out as he starts sitting down and having the interviews that people don't want him to have. How dare he go to Russia? He talked for 4 hours with Vladimir Putin. Putin puppet. You're like, really? This is ridiculous. Election integrity. Hey, you know what? A bunch of us worked in our local precincts in 2020. I was one of them. And we didn't feel really comfortable about some of the things that we saw. And so on January 6th, a bunch of these people decided to make the sojourn to the or to the U.S. Capitol and freeze their buns off to hear the president talk. And then they went over to the Capitol to say to their elected representatives, you guys know that constitutionally, I have the right to ask for redress. I have the right to ask you to say, stop for a second, don't certify. Listen to what we experienced January 6th, FBI agents getting people frustrated, shooting rubber bullets and smoke, beating to death Roseanne Boylan. Nobody talked about that. And what did the media do? They didn't talk about January 6th. They didn't talk about elections. They didn't talk about 2020, how a decrepit guy who was a plagiarist that everybody knew about forever and ever supposedly got 81 million votes without ever freaking campaigning. And instead of talking about that, it's January 6th. Those people are insurrectionists. See the pattern, right? And so when you identify the pattern and you see all of the media going to the same thing like white on rice, you're like, you know, whomever is causing them to go and follow that, that person's over the mark. I want to hear what they have to say. Why do you think Donald Trump is public enemy number one? Just because he threatened to drain the swamp? No, because he knows all of it. And they know he knows. And now it's up to you and to me to find the truth, to share the truth, to spread the truth, to silence the people who are so desperate to not see with their own eyes and ears that what they've signed up for is antithetical to everything we believe in as America. And if it's going to come down to a war, bring it. We're fighting for more than ourselves. We're fighting for this country. Everybody. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, that was a lot I squeezed in there, I know, right? How does she do that? It's pretty remarkable. When we come back, 2025, oh my gosh, a brutal year for entertainment, for movies, for media, for Hollywood. It's sort of like everybody's like, you know what? I so wish that you would try harder not to suck. Right? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Yes, I do. I wish that myself. Wish they didn't suck quite so bad. All right, let's see what we got here. Now, I apologize for that one video that took off and there was no audio on it. I mean, I've gone through this before, but I hear the audio in my headphones, but for some reason it's not transmitted out with,
I
with
look
the
at it
video.
and I'm like,
and when I hit the start button on these videos and it lags a little bit, that there are problems with Rumble. I don't know if they're getting hacked or what the situation is. It doesn't happen all the time. Once in a while, though.
look at her evidence. Then talk about that. She has to wrong.
Okay, let's see. Let me get this back here for you. Oh, I wish it wouldn't lag like this. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Brock brought up another one. Tina Peters, right? Think about how obvious it is when the media, which long ago lost our trust or anything. I don't care. I used to be a television news anchor and reporter for many, many years, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care. It's so over it. It's so broken for me. It's so destroyed. I look at it and I'm like, oh, the good old days. I remember. Were they, though? Tina Peters takes a copy of a voting system in Mesa, Colorado that she believes is problematic, that she thinks is wrong, that's corrupted, that defrauded the president in November of 2020. What do? They don't look at her evidence. They don't hear what she has to say. They come out with the torches and the pitchforks and they freaking arrest her and they throw her in prison, right? How dare you talk about that? Wow, it's almost like the 2020 election was stolen, but who am I, right? Well, last year, I can tell you without equivocation, was a really crappy year for the media, and it's a beautiful thing because they deserve every daggone thing that's coming their way. And I won't be satisfied until Tony DeCopel over at CBS News, whose big debut was the new news anchor on Monday, right? Until he comes out and cries and says, "I'm sorry, this really does suck. You're right." The year 2025, a bloodbath for film, streaming, television, and news workers in Hollywood as the media continued its downward spiral from its once commanding position as a leading American institution. I'm reading this from Breitbart, right? The Wrap reports, The Wrap, apparently some website that chronicles these things. The Wrap reports that television and film lost upwards 17,000 jobs in 2025, a loss of 18%, higher than last year, 2024's numbers. Look, I'm not delighting in seeing people lose their jobs. I've been on the receiving end of unemployment more times than I'd like to say. But are you getting the picture yet? News organizations, because you're clearly not if you're still putting out 60 Minutes garbage like you are, and Tony DeCopel, the face of your evening news, comes out to try to tell everybody, I hear you. You don't trust us, and I understand why. Shut up. Where were you, Tony, asking the critical questions of COVID, right? Where were you, Tony? You were probably doing stories on 6-foot social distance. Get away from me, right? Where's your sanitizer? The FCC approved the merger between Paramount Global and Skydance Media as the year came to a close. Warner Brothers Discovery also began its move to merge with whatever outfit's going to end up buying it in the coming year. Like, what are you buying? What are you getting? Are you getting great programming? Are you getting wonderful, thoughtful, fun, wholesome family shows? Are you hungry for that? Are you hungry for another Friends or for another Seinfeld or for another, I don't know, even some ER that's not so contrived and stupid? I am. What have these outfits done? Well, they've demonized the white man, right? You guys don't matter, you goofballs. Take a back seat. Everybody's got a minority as the star of the show. All of these issues. Oh, my transgender friend's having some problems down at the food pantry. Who wants to watch that? Right? I have a son getting into film. I'm like, yo, I hope you sign on with some conservative outlet because the way the left media is going, it's not going to survive, period. Layoffs will continue too, and artificial intelligence might be to blame for some of this stuff. I could see that. Do you think artificial intelligence is as biased, as left-leaning as all the hacks in Hollywood? Right? I mean, like literally when over 80% of the people in your industry identify as left, right? And where like 98% of their donations go to Democrat candidates, do you really think the projects that they're providing you are things that are inclusive of your values? Like good old-fashioned family values? The scourge. According to the World Economic Forum, who I love quoting, I love Klaus Schwab more than anything. 41% of companies worldwide are going to lay off workers over the next 5 years because they intend to begin increasing reliance on AI technology. Look, if the people in media, if the people on television, particularly local television, particularly local newspapers, aren't understanding that it's dead, it's dead. It ain't coming back. Like, if you haven't been doing something other than your traditional role as a quote-unquote reporter, hello? You're already behind the 8 ball. See, this is the reaction of a country that just wants something very basic, right? We just don't want to be lied to. We just don't want to be propagandized. I don't want to be deceived. And all of this fraud being exposed in Minneapolis is in the crosshairs. But this is everywhere, you guys. What's this story I'm reading right now happening in Ohio, where more than 40 daycare centers reportedly opened in Columbus on the exact same day? All of them linked to the exact same inactive shell entity, and together pulled in $14 million in taxpayer-funded subsidies in 1 year, while you were getting up and you were going to your job and you were doing the time and you were believing you were doing what was right, and your government the whole way was reaching into your pocket and taking half of it and giving it to people we didn't invite. Really? Is that what democracy looks like? Is that what the melting pot of America is, according to the left? Because if you missed Zoran Mamdani swearing in with his hand not on the Bible, but on the Quran, and with Letitia James, Bernie Sanders, and AOC as his cheerleaders, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wake up. Let's do it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Absolutely amazing. Utterly amazing, folks. These Democrats, and that's what I've been saying for years now. What is the definition of the Democrats when they holler, he's destroying our democracy? Yeah, he's trying to destroy your grift and corruption and fraud. Yeah, that is their democracy. Let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. I am following her channel. I've given her thumbs up, and I will be including this video in my daily news wrap-up, so you can catch the rest of that if you tune in for that. But let me share just a little bit of information here with you from 1775 Coffee, and then we'll move on.
Still haven't tried 1775 Coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash.
All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. And a black 1775 tumbler.
$170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is.
Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel,
and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does.
Okay, here we are back here. I've copied the live chat into a comment, so that will be permanent with this video. I've got a lot of good chats tonight. Thanks everybody for participating. And let me remind you folks that these videos that I've shared with you are videos that come directly from the producers. Okay, I've got the links to their videos. I've got the links to their channels. I don't get any commissions or royalties for sharing this information out. I just try to put together, bits and pieces of information, little different perspectives, little nice range of information, so that if you share this out and people listen to this, they might have second thoughts about, maybe I shouldn't support the fraud that's going on. It doesn't really matter what the color of a person's skin is or what country their origin is or whether they're male or female or what their gender preferences are. If they're breaking the law, maybe they need to be punished. Maybe something needs to be done to stop the fraud and theft. Unless, of course, you're part of it. Unless, of course, you're in favor of breaking the law. Unless, of course, you're in favor of fraud and corruption. Then I can understand why you wouldn't want to support stopping fraud and corruption. Duh! And these videos that I've shared with you folks are videos that I've posted here on Mertech.com, where I have over 55 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos. Your one-stop shop for the information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Now, I do have my daily news wrap-up that I'm going to share with you here. Let me come over here and show you my playlist. Just the news. I want to share this little short ditty with you. Minute 43 seconds before we get into the Wendy Bell. Badlands Media. Paul Joseph Watson. Freedom Project. Fox News Channel. Dr. Jane Ruby. Got a lot of great information in here. 20 videos in here. Probably about 8 or 9 hours worth of information. So go ahead and take a break. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or a sandwich and a soft drink, and or a beer, and meet me back here about 9:30 and we'll get this going. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for spending your time with me. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.